Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations, much love and respect to you, Akim, out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. And this lesson is going to be dealing with the fugitive and the vagabond. Okay, the fugitive and the vagabond is Esau, Edom. Okay, today they call themselves white people, Caucasians, things of that nature, which are all lies, you know. Caucasians, it has some truth to it because they were in the Caucasus Mountains, but that white thing was something they constructed to push forth confusion. You know, going back to 1681, the essay that I believe it was Benjamin Franklin that he wrote. He was establishing that that the majority of the known world, including Europe, was owned by so-called black people, right, which were Israelites. Okay, speaking of Europe specifically, but then around the world, these other nations, they're also dark nations. Okay, like the Ishmaelites, the Hamites, the Elamites, they're originally dark nations. Okay, they had melanin, right? Before they started to mix with Esau, and they have a lot of those people that have now became pale. You know, and those are the only people that they show you on the TV and things like that, because there's a caste system, you know, based upon color in those different places. Okay, why? Because the Edomite is in rulership of the whole world, and he has pushed forth something that's called white supremacy, which we call Edomite supremacy. Okay, which promotes the Edomite look over any other look, you know, and that mainly started, well, that was propagated mostly in from America. You know, even the Nazis, they took their way of doing things. They took that from the Americans, man, from the Babylonians. You see, they had something back in the day known as what, the paper bag rule. Basically, if anyone was darker than a brown paper bag, they couldn't do certain things. They couldn't go into certain movie theaters, so on and so forth, right? So if you were lighter than a brown paper bag, psychologically, that told you that you were better than the other people that were darker, you know, which couldn't be further from the truth. Because first and foremost, according to the scriptures, the Heavenly Father is a so-called black man, a dark-skinned man with white woolly hair. The Heavenly Father himself, man, the supreme Yahweh. And then his son, Yahweh Shai, he's a so-called black man as well, and it describes him in Revelation, the 1st chapter, and also Daniel's the 7th chapter. Okay, you understand? So these Edomites, these elites, these Edomites that, you know, deal with history and archaeology and things like that, they know that. They know that. The thing is that they hide it because they don't want you, Jake, so they want the world, excuse me, to know your true history, and they especially don't want the world to know their true history. Okay, because when you go into the wild man, you know, the caveman, that wasn't billions of years ago. Okay, these Edomites were living like that just in the Dark Ages. They were living like that, man, while Jake was ruling. By the way, they call it the Dark Ages because they say, oh, we don't have any understanding of what was going on. There was little things happening back then. There was so much history happening in the Dark Ages. So much history. So much, man. The Crusades, you know, well, all these medieval movies, that's coming from the Dark Ages. What are you talking about, man? Othello, these different plays, you know, Beethoven, Mozart, that's all from the Dark Ages, and there's many other people like that, and those were all so-called black men, by the way. Oh, what's his name? Casanova. You see what I'm saying? So these are things that Esau tries to hide to promote himself as the superior. Right? Because he's a fugitive and a vagabond. So when you're a fugitive, let's say if you committed a crime somewhere, right? A heinous crime where you would get life in prison or the death penalty, let's say, and you move to another place, right? What's the first thing those criminals would do? They would want to change their name, right? They'd want to, live a new life. They'd want to hide themselves. And that's what Esau Edom has done. He has hidden himself under the mask of being white, being a Romans, German, Greek, right? Which those were names, by the way. The Greeks and the Germans, the Greeks and the Romans, they took those names from Japhet. Okay, when you look up Greek, it goes back to Yavon, which was a son of Japhet, because they were ruling that land before them, and they took they took their customs along. They took their customs as well, and that's what Esau is good for. He's good for stealing customs, stealing history, stealing natural resources. Right? John 10:10, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. Okay, and he's the thief. All right, and that's why the Lord is gonna visit you, man. That's one of the reasons. But yeah, he's stolen all that history and took it as his own, and tried to act like he was the one that came up with it. And he's doing the same thing with our own heritage, man. Okay, us being Israelites, he's calling himself an Israelite. When they don't fit the prophecies, right? They don't match up with the history, right? All you have to do is look at the Egyptian hieroglyphs, and you can clearly see that the Israelites have afros and they have dark skin, right? From a dark brown to a light brown. Okay, that's all you got to do is look at the hieroglyphs, man. It's not even a difficult thing to find out, man. It's dealing with the hieroglyphs, man. You see what I'm saying? And then with the hieroglyphs, a lot of times they'll show the lighter skin ones rather than the dark skin ones. But it doesn't make a difference because they have afros on their head, man. Right? Showing you they had negroid features. And that is why the Lord is described as having hair like wool. Which nation of people have hair like wool? So-called Negroes, man. Right? Which would be what? The kingdom of Judah. Right? But even when you go to the northern kingdom, a lot of them, even the Issacharites, they had afros, man. And if you go to Mexico now, you'll see certain Issacharites with afros, man. All right? They have that type of hair as well. You know what I'm saying? So the truth is out. The truth is constantly coming out, man. The truth that has been so long without fruit shall be declared. Now you have Edomites coming out and exposing these things, exposing the history on how the Roman infrastructure was exactly the same. The Roman and the Greek infrastructure was exactly the same as the Edomite infrastructure in Petra. It's the same infrastructure. It's the same people that were ruling. You understand? So that whole thing of the Edomites are done away with, that's BS. Okay? Because they were the Romans. Even the small hat encyclopedia, you know what I'm talking about, they tell you that Edom is modern day. Well, I think that might be I think they say Edom is modern day Jewry. Yep, they say that. Okay, but they also say the Amalekites also agree on, which that's them telling on themselves. But the Amalekites also agree that the Edomites, the Romans are Edomites. Okay, right? But they don't tell you that. A lot of times they don't tell you that they themselves are also Edomites. They try to separate themselves, which that's what Esau always did, right? The Greeks and the Romans, that was nothing but Esau versus Esau. They're trying to make the Russians out to be the most evil people, when you Americans have done the most heinous acts on the planet Earth. You know, but the Russians are also their Edomite brethren. You see? You understand? So this man, he loves to hide himself. You know, he loves to hide himself, and that's why he set the covering cast over all people and started calling people by color and classifying people into 3 classifications: Negroid, Caucasoid, and Mongoloid, which is complete nonsense. Right? Complete nonsense. Trying to play off of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, you know. Which, first and foremost, the way you look is not an ultimate determinant of who you are, what nation you come from. Okay? What determines your nation is the seed of your father. That's it. That's it. It's a people with a common ancestry. Now, where they muddy the waters is that they try to put the woman in that ancestry. The woman has nothing to do with the lineage. Okay? When you have a daughter, your lineage stops at her. She's the last person that will come from her that is part of your lineage. She takes on the seed of the man that she lays with and continues his lineage and becomes part of his house. That's why the woman takes the man's last name. Okay? So that's where they muddy the waters. Now, you can lay with a woman of another nation, and then your child could come out looking like that other nation. That does not make that child of that other nation. That makes that child of your seed, of your nation. Right? Just like Ruth. Okay? She led with Boaz and had a Jesse. Okay? You see that? And Jesse had who? Jesse had King David. Okay? And that Jesse was an Israelite and King David was an Israelite. Why were they Israelites? Because their father Boaz was an Israelite. Has nothing to do with Ruth. Ruth is not accounted for. Ruth is not part of the equation, man. You see what I'm saying? But this is how Esau muddies the water. You know? You even have people that look like Edomites, right? With that pale red flesh, with blonde hair and blue eyes that are actually part of our nation, that are actually Israelites. You know, you have Moabites that got them chinky eyes that look just like the so-called Chinese that are really Israelites, man. Bruce Lee is a good example. Okay? Bruce Lee is a good example. A lot of those so-called Filipinos, those are Israelites. Okay? Going back to the Negrito. Understand what I mean? So Esau has set that covering cast to hide himself so that people will not find out who he is, because he is a fugitive, meaning what? He has not been brought to justice yet. Okay? And he's a vagabond, man. He never stays at home. He never stays at home. Okay? As in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter tells you that, man. Who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied, man. You know, neither keepeth at home. He doesn't like to stay at his house, man. He likes to go into other people's lands, steal their lands. When the Bible clearly tells you, remove not thy neighbor's landmark. Who put the landmark there? The Most High is the one who set up the landmarks, man. You know, and you had a lot of these heathen that were trying to take Israel's land and take other people's lands and things like that, which they were going off because they were a bunch of heathens. But nobody has been as wicked and as excessive in doing that as the Edomites, because they are excessive in wickedness, because they are the people of sin and the people of the Heavenly Father's curse, and they are directly against the Heavenly Father. They are completely opposed to the Heavenly Father, man. Okay? Go look up Yuval Noah, man. That's supposed to be an Amalekite. That's supposed to be one of them small hats. He's supposed to be of the people. Well, the scriptures say that the people have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. He don't have no zeal of the Most High. He has a zeal of Satan. You know, and he loves blasphemy. He loves to blaspheme. Well, the Lord, the Heavenly Father, is gonna stop their mouth real soon, man. you know. Anyways, this is your brother High in the Posh. I just wanted to do a quick lesson, you know, dealing with the fugitive and the vagabond before I go to camp, man. You know, so Koholoyim Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations and much love and respect to you brothers out there pushing this word out and truth and sincerity, and to you sincere sisters as well. Shalom.